on the run, but you're the one who's gonna flee.
So you've just heard Run These Streets from Year of the Dog, and I have lead singer and guitarist from the band, Felix Lindsell-Hales, right here with me now. Hello, Felix.
Hi, mate. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us right here on Showtime on BCFM. It's great to have you with us. Now, I'm going to start with like a really obvious question for you, because Year of the Dog, the name of your band, well, I worked out Year of the Dog was last in 2018, and I'm going to guess, is that when you formed up?
Yeah. Hit the nail on the head.
It's as simple as that, is it? I mean, have you got a particular interest in sort of Chinese stuff or Eastern stuff, or is it just, you know what, this sounds like a great name for a band?
Kind of, to be honest. It was more, I was just, I made myself look like an idiot. I was in a pub crawl, not a pub crawl, a pub quiz, that's the one.
Right, yeah.
Got my mind on other things. We were in a pub quiz, and then it just, the question was, what is the Chinese, New Year this year? And I went, it'd be so cool if there was a Year of the Dog, and it turns out it was the Year of the Dog, and then I just went from there.
What an absolute fluke. Absolutely brilliant. And all of you, all six of you, you're all professional musicians, aren't you? You've all graduated from the Royal Welsh College of Music, is that right?
Yes, so four of us are jazz-trained session musicians. Pete on the trombone is a classical trombonist, and then I'm a composer, so together we make quite a little collective. But yeah, all professional musicians.
No French horn in the band?
Not yet. I mean, but of course, Shooty did play it in Sex Education. So.
Well, that was my next question, because of course that track and your band featured in season 1 of Netflix's Sex Education. I mean, my goodness, how did all of that come about?
It was kind of just madness, really. They contacted Cardiff Uni looking for a swing band, and this was, no one even knew. It was called Schooled at this point because of it was just so under the rug.
Yeah.
So, and then I got forwarded the email because we were the Royal Welsh, so I don't think they even knew it existed. And then I just got in touch saying, I've got a band, and we'd only been together a month. And I said, we've got a band, and we'll do whatever you want us to do. So.
You just like, I'll do absolutely anything. So when you got there and you started doing stuff, you started reading bits of the script, did you sort of think, oh my goodness, this is pretty cool what we're involved in here?
We had no idea it was going to be so big. We had no idea of anything. But I mean, we were only told that we were going to play our tune the night before the shoot, because before that it was like a mix up between all these other big artists' tunes, and then they just went, just go with yours, and then we did.
My goodness, to be asked to have your band feature in a Netflix show, a really big show. I mean, Gillian Anderson's starring in that. I mean, my goodness, I'm going to ask you about her in a minute. I don't know whether you got to meet her or not. And actually having your own music featuring on a show that's basically going international, that must have just blew your minds, mustn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's still always a bit kind of hard to believe, but at the same time, it's a bit crazy how 40 million people viewed it, I think, in the first week or something. But at the same time, because we weren't a big enough established band at the time when it went out, we weren't really, there was no credit to give us. So 40 million people have seen our music and seen us as a band, but they don't actually know we're a real band. So
you've kind of got to backpedal now and do kind of like reverse marketing. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a weird thing. So when the season finally aired and you actually got to see it, I suppose, I don't know if you saw any rushes before it went out, but did you think, oh my goodness, look at what we're involved in?
I mean, yeah, when we were there, just seeing even the cameras, just how professional and how good the actors were, we were like, oh, this is something special. This is something, and it was just funny. Half the time we were just trying not to laugh on set. It was our first time on set. We're musicians, we're not actors. Everyone else there were professional actors.
Which is actually to your advantage, because if you're playing school kids, in a high school, albeit set in the South Wales or whatever, that is what they want, is it? They want people who actually act sort of like young. Well, obviously you're acting a little bit underage, weren't you? So, but that's what they wanted. So I guess that was to your advantage in the end.
Yeah, it's very genuine.
Did you actually get to meet Gillian Anderson? Was she in any of your scenes at all?
She wasn't in any of our scenes, but I mean, we were in. They kind of put us around the school as well. We just did like extra days because we were part of the school, we're students. So I did see when she gave her speech and stuff like that in front of the assembly, and she's a funny lady. She's a cool lady. I didn't get to talk to her that closely. We're mainly talking with Kedar, who plays Jackson, the main jock. absolutely lovely, and Shooty, of course, who plays Eric.
Yes,
and because we interact with them, and they're both just absolutely lovely guys.
They come across that way as well. But I don't want to focus too much on that show, even though that was such a big break for you. Let's talk about your music a little bit, because you call it, you're not really a swing band, are you? You play brass house soul, and I love that sound. I mean, who does all the writing and for the music and the lyrics, of course?
Well, the lyrics are just me because I'm a singer. I'm not a great singer, but I'm the singer. And I mean, the music, at the beginning, it was primarily me. I mean, our first song, that Run These Streets, that went out on Sex Ed, the only reason the band came together is because I was doing like an electro swing track. And I got the brass, I just found these brass guys in college and then got them to play. And then we just thought we had something good, so we ran with it. But over time, more of the bands are writing with each other, which is really nice.
I guess the fact that you're all professional musicians means that you all read and write music as well, which is great. So you can like write stuff down. You don't really. I mean, when I'm a musician, I graduated in music, and of course, when you were composing in my day, you had to sort of like physically write stuff on stage. But now, of course, it's all done electronically, isn't it? And you can use music writing software and collaborate electronically, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing any scores, I kind of go both on the computer and on the score just to try and figure out what's going on. But in the band, we don't really write anything.
In a pandemic as well, it means you can shoot parts across, to somebody remotely and do a bit of practice. That must have been hellish for you, mustn't it, during the pandemic, trying to rehearse and stuff?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, we could have either just frozen and said, "Oh, I don't know if we can do this anymore," but perseverance took hold. So I was just constantly sending firing ideas around, and luckily though, that's when it pushed the rest of the band to get their own recording equipment and gear. So like many musicians, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that way we could fire ideas around and actually get stuff rolling. But that's the reason why our new single coming out took so long to sort out, because even though we recorded most of it in one day at Mollin Valley Studios, the rest of the booking got cancelled, so we had to sort all the rest of it at home, which was just manic.
Really, really hard work as well. And you must have lost a lot of gigs as well during last year.
So many. We were playing Nostock main stage on the Friday, Kendall Calling, Chai Walla, like things that I've always wanted to do and look forward to. But and then of course they were meant to roll onto this year, but those two ones got cancelled. But we are playing the other ones.
I was going to say I'm hoping you get rebooked, and I'm sure you will, because I think of course the other advantage of the pandemic is everybody's been sitting down watching Netflix, and I have to admit I hadn't watched Sex Ed until a couple of months ago, and I binged my way through the lot. So you're going to have a lot of new fans, I think, as well. Speaking of which, because you were Cardiff-based, of course, the Sex Ed was filmed up in the Wye Valley, but you relocated to Bristol. Why have you decided to do that?
It was mainly because of work, but also as well because Bristol's always kind of been my vibe. That sounds weird, but it's always been, Bristol's like such a great city and it's got such a great music scene. But I think most of us ended up going to Royal Welsh just because that's where we got into, and we thought it'd be really good to go to kind of a conservatoire and really like hone our craft, but then go out back into the kind of bohemian style. So that's essentially.
Well, it's definitely worked for you, and of course there are a lot of live venues in Bristol as well alone, and I guess really the bread and butter for musicians these days is doing live gigs rather than the sort of deals that you get with record companies, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean nothing beats live gigs, both because of just money, but mainly also just because of like it's just so exciting, and also it gets more people involved with you. I mean, you can send stuff out on social media or the internet, but nothing really is going to make an impact, or you're never going to connect with people as well as a gig.
And the other good thing is you're working with Mass Records. Is that like a record deal, I suppose?
No, it's not a record deal. Though it does seem like it. It's just they're a really great kind of collective that. I guess company that's funded by the government, and it's mainly to do with just pushing new music in Bristol out there. So they accepted us onto the scheme, and so this past year we've been on it through the pandemic, which has been really, really good for us because it's just helped to keep ties all together and keep momentum.
Brilliant stuff. And I know people listening, I want to know if you've got any gigs coming up, particularly in the Bristol area, but also elsewhere.
Yes, I mean, this Sunday we're playing Elderflower Fields Festival, which is towards Brighton, but on the 18th of September we're playing Mr. Wolf's, and we can't wait, so please do come along and have a good old merry with us, because it's going to be a great one.
People should keep an eye out for that. Now, we're going to be hearing your new single that's coming out. It's called Arch Enemy. We'll be listening to that very shortly. But before we do, if anyone would like to know more about the band and those upcoming gigs, where's the best place to get that information?
So we're all over social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook, and we've got a website. And the tag is at Year of the Dog Band. Year of the Dog Band. But the website is yearofthedogband.com. So it's very, very simple. We just can't be Year of the Dog alone, because then you just might find just loads of Chinese New Year sites, which is...
That's exactly what happened when I Googled it. Felix Lindsell-Hales from Year of the Dog Band. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I love your music.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.